Might work out. Sometimes you have to give up even when don't give up even when it feels like all hope is lost. Thank you everyone that is joining me in the room again with a special agenda. I really appreciate everybody who's taking time out of their busy schedule. Hold on one second. We're having a problem with one of the cameras. But I see an easy fix. And I think it's a possibility that we could. Oh, okay. All right, we where we need to be. All right, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us. And today we're going to be talking about something because we got new books, new books. Because my librarian loves my family and loves us as a community. It's really great when people see you, when they see your journey, when they see your struggle, when they see your humanity, and they decide to put in work with you. When there's nothing for them to gain, when it is extra effort, when there will be no accolades given, when there will be no extra pay, there will be no reward. And the reward in and of itself is just being a good person. So when I say I'm beyond grateful for having people a part of my community that don't have to be, because this is their daily struggle. This is not what they go home to. This is something they could look the other way in. So to have people who take the time to show how important, to show you how important your village is a beautiful thing. And today, these are part of the tips and tricks. When I tell you it's so important, this particular book here, The Hidden Brilliance, Lynn Kern, Kogel, PhD, and Claire Zebnik, Hidden Brilliance and Unlocking the Intelligence of Autism. And understanding that, one, there is beauty in so many things that are different. Learning to make adjustments and stop expecting everyone, particularly those who are differently able, to make adjustments for us. Treating people that like they are gifts, they are a blessing. And there is something wonderful in who they are without thinking about how they can make your life easier or what you can how you can benefit or how they can contribute to the world, because they contribute in ways that we are unaware that they do. If you're paying attention, you'll see it. Sometimes it's just in learning how to treat others and watching others' perspective of the world often not only reminds you of how blessed you are, that this is not your personal struggle daily, even if it's something that they're struggling with and day to day you're struggling trying to help them. Sometimes we forget that the gift that that person gives us is an opportunity to thank our Heavenly Father for the struggles that we aren't personally having to deal with day to day. What would it be like to be in their shoes? Also, watching how kind and humane they are with others. As hard as they struggle sometimes, many of them are the most gracious, giving, supportive, thankful, considerate individuals. Whereas those of us who don't have the limitations that they have seem to miss the mark. Many of them will give you the shirt off their back. And those of us that aren't limited in those ways, and don't have the limited resources and opportunities that they do, we forget to celebrate those around us, to appreciate those around us. This particular book highlights so many wonderful things about what their journey was like, how to be of assistance, what gifts they do possess. I'm trying to put my glasses back up now. My reading glasses. And it talks about tackling the behaviors that can dim your child's bright, their bright light. And I love that because having a clear understanding of what's going on and a direct instruction on how to address issues that are happening. Sometimes people are vague, and because they don't want to give incorrect answers, because they don't always have correct answers, because it's different from person to person, they give you roundabout answers. So you kind of have to come up with instructions on your own. But tackling those behaviors, working with the schools to nurture your child's brilliance, in-home programs that have your house, your rules, your goals. Kind of what we were talking about the last time we spoke. But this book here is everything. I'm gonna try to put it back on the shelf later for those who are looking for it. But if your library doesn't have it, ask them to get it. Helping them to find ways to create solutions for their day-to-day struggles. We constantly have conversations of solution in my household. This is the talks that we have. Helping people to understand there will be times when things are difficult. What is your fix-it plan? If you don't give me a written list, you can give me a verbal list. The conversation we had the other day, my son has memory issues sometimes. So, due to his ADHD, I said, you need to start a counting list. Most people counting, we don't do unless it's money. But there are other things in life that you benefit from counting, which are things you may need to take out of the house. Name and count them. If you need to get your cup, your keys, your wallet, your phone, and you need to fill your water cup up first. That's those 5 things. So say I have 5 things that I need to do, 5 steps and things I need to complete before I can get to the front door. If you tell yourself you have 5 things, you will count them out. Name them and count them. Name them and count them. And as you do that, count down the number of things you have left. That will help. Believe it or not, that has been a solution that has worked. And that'll help with so many other things. For Rayla, we have conversations of what should we do next time. We're all learning, and failure is just another way of assessing how to improve for the next time. So rather than focusing on what did not go well, our plan of discussion is how do we make sure that it goes well next time? So the best way in which to do that is to create a plan of action. What did I not do this time that I should do next time? So when we have those conversations, you should repeat it a number of times, but it's also her new plan of action. And she'll remind us, and sometimes she will tell us when we're not doing things the way in which it should be done. I started to have that conversation with her about a number of different things that she brought to my attention that I wasn't as polite as I thought that I was. And I caught on because there was this particular time in which she'd done it several times before I realized that I was the one that was being impolite. I was shopping, she was shopping, and we were going separate ways. With Rayla, despite the myth of them not being social, is social because Rayla would go and get people, introduce them to me, and then make me introduce them to her, and make me introduce her to them. And I thought that was odd because she'd already met them. And then I finally caught on that I was the one that was doing it the wrong way. Because many times when you have special needs children, we will communicate with others with our child standing there. Rarely, put your hands up if you recognize that you don't do it now. Do we take the time to introduce the person to our children? And introduce our children to them. Sometimes we just miss that mark. We start talking, we see that they see them, but in our minds, we are in some ways we want their behaviors to prayerfully not present themselves at that moment. And so it's almost as if we wish them invisible, even though that's not our intent. We don't include them in the conversation. We don't. And I know I'm not the only one because I've seen many do it. I just didn't realize why. Until she started to point out to me. And so I asked her about it one day because she'd done it a number of different times. But that particular day, after she did it a number of times, because she was introducing herself to different ones, and I figured she's within the confines of somewhere where I know no one's gonna take her. She's not doing anything inappropriate. Um, no, I don't know who she's talking to, but they're not gonna do anything to her in front of me right here at the store. So it was in fact a safe space. And I realized that I had done this on a number of occasions. So I asked her, were you introducing them to me because you feel like I'm not polite? She said yes. I had no idea that that's how she viewed my behavior. Because we as parents often point out things that we see that they do that we feel needs to be improved. Rarely do we get the eye-opening experience, particularly when you have children that are differently able, of it being made clear to us of what they are observing and their perspective on what they're experiencing from our behavior, from our interactions with them and with others. Lots of times the meltdowns and it's the seemingly disruptive behavior or behavior where they're non-compliant with what it is we're requesting is a result of something that's happened that we don't know that we're doing that may be part of the conflict because we don't communicate with them effectively, not intentionally, but because sometimes there are little gaps in what's not being said. We don't always try to fill them because of the time that we may be trying to get this done or that done. And as a parent, we occasionally, and we don't see it until with children who are neurotypical until they become adults, because it's easier to do it than to teach it. So we complain about neurotypicals being reliant on us when we train them to be that. And with children that are not neurotypical, we kind of expect them to be dependent on us. So we don't prepare them to not be. We automatically assume, because of the deficiencies that we may see or the diagnosis that they may have received, that to keep them from being disappointed or frustrated, or from us being frustrated, we self-limit them. We automatically form a blueprint in our head of what the outcome will be because of what we've been told. And that's not always the truth. Success is built on trying. Sometimes, no matter what the outcome potentially could be. Sometimes what we think it will be, it won't. And sometimes what we hope it will be, it won't. And sometimes it will. But trying is the answer to that. That is the solution. If you work at it, it can improve. But we shouldn't decide that it won't ever. We have to stop being self-limiting. Because sometimes the person we're limiting is really ourselves. Because it starts with how we think, what we plan. Sometimes we forget to hope. But these particular books give such light to that. This one I love because this prepares. This is a book that you should get on, not just at the library. If you love it, then get it on Amazon. Then check it out at the library first. Because this is one of those books that you want to keep. I fell in love with this book. It's Autism in Childhood for Parents and Carers of the Newly Diagnosed. This one is that will get you right. This one opens your mind in a different way of how to be more creative in helping them to develop. This is that Play-Doh. This is that causes to become. This book will help you redirect all the thoughts that you've had. It restructures, it reforms, it gives you hope and a clearer understanding of what you can do with it. And I don't mean with autism, I mean with our own personal creativity and our abilities. Not only does it enlighten, it prepares. And there's nothing like a good cookbook. A good cookbook comes with instructions, how to solve and repair. You ever had a cookbook that shows you a good cookbook? In the cookbook, it has one of my favorite cookbooks, as an example, for this book, has substitutions if you don't have and you need. When it got that in it, that's that book. That's that one. Because everybody starts cooking something and thinks, I can make this. And then you look through your refrigerator and you can start making this and realize that most of the key ingredients you don't have, and you have to leave that there and run to the store. that right here. If you don't have, you can do this. If this is going this way, you can do that. If this has happened, you can do that. If they're doing this, you can do this. This right here. Autism in childhood for parents and caregivers of the newly diagnosed. And this one was written by Luke Beardom. Right here. Autism in childhood. And it was also written by Dr. Claire Lawrence. Right here. This is that get you right. I'm going to return this book at some point. I will. It's not my book, but I'm going to probably order it on Amazon for myself and maybe a few friends because as a gift. Because this, like I said, is that tell you what to do in the event thereof. When something makes it clear for substitutions in different instances, when things aren't going the way you need to, you don't have what you need in this particular, this is what we can do. This is that. Make sure if you don't get nothing else, right here. Thank you. I hope this has been helpful. In the room was a special agenda. Make sure that you take time to understand each other, to be clear on what's going on. Redirection is important, not just for those that you are caring for, that are on the spectrum or have other delays. Sometimes we need redirection for ourselves. What are our goals for our household? What are our goals for ourselves? What are our goals for our mental health and well-being? Making sure that you look out for yourself like you look out for them. Because there cannot be balance if the one that is supposed to be guiding the balance is not looking forward themselves. If you don't have any balance, how can you help them? It is important. Taking yourself out, if it's nothing but a cup of coffee and 5 minutes by yourself, you may need that. Even if they're having a meltdown right then, it may benefit you and them more than you realize. Sometimes you just need to pull yourself together. And sometimes that means ignoring others so you can do it. That doesn't mean you don't care. It really means that you do. Have a great night. Thank you so much for joining us in the room with a special agenda. I hope to hear from you all soon. Okay.